You have the music, and you have the music business. So I'm a student to the game, and I'm always, like you said, I'm always thinking about what is next, like what's going to happen next, like what do I believe is the future, and I put time into that. And I think the artists that are able to kind of reinvent themselves over and over again is what keeps it going.
It's the C-A-T-C-H, we catching up. 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 We catching up with Mark.
Oh yeah. Bro, how are you? Nice to see you as always.
Likewise, man. Likewise. I'm good. It's crazy times, but I'm good, man. This has been an opportunity to kind of shut down a little bit, in terms of traveling, right? I had this lifestyle where I was just on a plane every single day, going to a different country every day, and then COVID hit and, forced to be at home. But I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because, we were looking at how many days I was at home last year, for instance, and it was only 60 days out of the year. And that's been the norm, for the past, 12, 13 years of my life. You know what I'm saying?
I was reading something where they said, like, I think Jason was on an airplane 45 times last month.
Isn't that crazy?
I believe it because I watch you and I often try to have dinner with you, and you're like,
I was on there 45 days. That's crazy.
And not like domestically, internationally, which is just, I mean, it takes a toll on you with all that travel.
It does, man. It takes a toll on you, and I think, being at home has really allowed me to like really enjoy my family, really enjoy this personal space.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very different, man. But I don't think I'll ever go back to the same intensity that I was at, in terms of traveling.
Well, I think it showed all of us that, you can still be productive and accomplish even maybe greater things than you ever thought you could have without having to do all that travel, or for some people, it's going to an office, commuting every single day at 6 o'clock in the morning, sitting in traffic, driving back, and you start doing the math. You realize like you could, the productivity maybe, like we always say in our little world, I was like, working smarter. Not harder necessarily.
Absolutely.
Right? So
and I think it's gonna be like that for a
that.
lot of people, right? Like you can do so much on Zoom now. You can do so much on social media. So like the days where artists were flying to all of these different countries to do interviews, I think that's gonna be tough for people to do. Once you find out that this is possible, like how are you gonna get people to go and do, all of those things again?
Yeah, we've been doing those like Google Hangouts or Zoom calls for a while. Once we opened up in, from New York, we're all based, is where my office is. But then once we opened in LA and then Las Vegas, it was a consistent, three times a week, just big group call with everybody. And frankly, you don't miss a beat. And now it's gone so mainstream. It took like a crazy thing to happen for the whole world to wake up and be like, I'm not getting on an airplane to go fly to London or fly across the country to have a meeting.
Straight up.
I will look at you in the face, which I do think is important to see the person and get their like tone with visual, response or whatever. But what used to be conference calls and not a good enough thing, you look what we could do. I mean, I could have incredible conversations with the most dynamic people without them having to come to a studio or, go to them and figure out cameras and all this stuff just for like the basic stuff. Now with you recently did what? Like you did your first concert basically, right? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was good, man. We've actually been doing a couple of them, man, and it's cool, but it's a little different, you know what I'm saying, than being in front of an audience. Obviously, the main thing is that audience interaction. You're missing that energy from the audience, and as a performer, you kind of feed off of that energy, and it kind of takes you to the next level, and you just kind of continue to have this fire, throughout the entire show because, they're just kind of keeping you energized. So with this, it's kind of it's kind of like trying to find that same fire, like inside, it is a different perspective, but it reminds me of corporate shows.
Right. Corporate shows, or even going on like a Today Show type of thing where like you perform to like 20 people that are sitting there in a live studio.
Yeah, but even that is great. Even 20 people is better than nobody.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm watching the NBA now. I'm like, as a fan on TV, actually, I feel fine.
Yeah,
right? But like to not be able to go to an actual game as a fan, it sucks, right? But
for sure, for sure.
how are these players dealing with same thing, feeding off that energy of the crowd, the home team
Hmm.
advantage, the whole thing that comes with it, the cheering and the music and the excitement and yelling and screaming is a huge part of sports, obviously
100%.
concerts and everything else. I think we'll get back. You know what I mean? There, not everything can be replaced by Zoom and pre-recorded stuff. And my friend Cassie just did something where he did something called Pass the Mic, where he had like the classic artists from like the '80s hip hop generation. Did something really well produced, and it was amazing. And like to watch it, you felt the energy. But imagine it will never replace the concert or the. But you can do these things now because of the pandemic, right? Like to get
Oh yeah,
50 of the greatest artists together to do their number one hit from '80s or '90s or whatever the genre. You're never going to have to show up to one concert to do that. But
that's
now you
right.
can pull this off, and people actually give a shit. It's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
like we've known each other for a long time now. I actually don't even remember what year we met in, but it was long enough to say that, which is nice because I've had like a real front row seat, so to speak, of watching you grow,
Hmm.
both in your biceps and your hairstyles to just to a international superstar artist who was as humble as can be when I met you, who is as humble as can be now, which I have to give you as a compliment is rare to see,
Appreciate it, man.
because frankly you are larger than life, especially even right now during the peak of where everyone sort of disappears. You've taken an incredible marketing stance
Yeah,
and independent stance to your career, which is amazing. But
thank you, bro.
before we get into that, the spirit of this is just to give people, whether they're my fans, which are very few in comparison to your fans, but an inside perspective of what does it take to get to where you are in the genre that you're focused in. Now, you've obviously done your acting, you've done TV hosting, you've done things overseas, you've done things domestically, but number one, you are a singer, dancer, performer as a
Yeah.
career, which has obviously gone into other things like restaurant business with me. But
Uh-huh.
um, but um, but what? Tell me your journey a bit. Being born, 1989, right?
Hmm.
You're a bit younger than me. Damn you. But what did it take? Obviously, you can't tell every detail because it take forever. But from a young kid, did you have the passion to be a performer? At what age? What inspired you? Where did you come up with the idea, even that you were good at something differently?
Hmm.
And what sort of twists and turns have had to happen when you look back at these crossroad moments of your life? And like I said, like earlier when we were chatting, meeting Frank at an early age,
Yep.
who I've had the
Yeah.
pleasure to deal
I
with
mean,
on multiple occasions.
the main thing for me, which I was lucky, is the fact that I was able to find what I loved very early on. I was 4 years old when I saw Michael Jackson for the first time on television, and then I was hooked. It became an obsession to try to be like Michael Jackson.
Hmm.
Instead of uh, being a musician, it was almost like trying to become Michael Jackson. When I was that
Yeah,
age, I didn't really know what that meant, but um, it was that insatiable desire to continue to just grow. I always wanted to just get myself to the next level, whatever that was. And the funny thing is, like, I remember being so young, and I was like, yeah, by the time, if I'm 8 and I'm not famous by the time I'm 8, I'm giving this up.
right.
8 rolled around. If I'm 12, and this doesn't happen, yeah, I'm gonna choose something else. That it never happened at that time.
Yeah,
But what it did, I always had some kind of goal, like I always had something to reach for.
yeah.
So like that kind of keeps you going. Also, there was always some glimmer of light that always let me know that it was possible. And
Hmm.
all I needed was like, even if it was like one person saying, "Oh my God, you're so gifted," like that little
Yeah.
nod just kept the fire burning. You know
Little
what I'm saying?
wins.
So
It was those
yeah,
little
yeah, for
wins
sure.
where you didn't feel like you're totally wasting your time. I read a
Hmm.
quote. I read a quote somewhere, and I really don't remember where, but it said when Jason commits, he commits 100%, and then once he's committed, he wants to be number one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Do you
I
feel
don't
like
know
you
who
had
said that
that?
either, but
I don't
that's so
know.
real.
I read a bunch of different articles about you and also some interviews, and that was one of them. But I
Yeah, man.
think some record executive said that about you. But when you were younger, the little hits, like from what I understood, you were playing basketball at a young age,
Hmm.
and that was that another passion of yours, basketball before music, or simultaneously, or where you zigged instead of zagged to go music?
Yeah, so it became a passion of mine in middle school. I mean, I mean I always played basketball. I always loved it, but like I really had that competitive spirit, and I went to a school that was really basketball centric, sports
Hmm.
centric, rather. And I think just that competitive spirit was like I could do this too, you know. So yeah, I tried to join the basketball team at my middle school. Didn't happen. The next year, going into high school, didn't make that team either.
Hmm.
But the summer of my ninth grade year, I decided that there was nothing that was going to stop me. So I literally spent every waking moment with my basketball. So everywhere you see me, I had this basketball in my hand. You know, whether I was walking to the bus, whether I was walking from class to class, I just had this basketball in my hand at all
Right.
times. And that's when I met Frank. I met Frank, the summer of my ninth grade year, and yeah, he just kind of helped me with my basketball, and that kind of blossomed into him becoming my manager. He was at law school at the time.
Right. It's amazing. He had an
Yeah,
eye on your talent for basketball, only to morph into your talent for singing, right, and dancing. And then,
for sure.
so what did Frank do in terms of taking you outside of your basketball focus to get you to start? Because you were writing music, right, or writing songs from an early age. I
Yeah,
think I read that you wrote your first song at 8 years old or 9 years old,
yeah, yeah.
and then even in your teenage years, you wrote a song for Birdman, right?
Yeah, so I started writing songs at 8, like you said, and just trying to kind of make songs for myself is kind of tough in Miami because um, in Miami, it can be kind of like crabs in a bucket sometimes. Everybody's trying to get
Hmm.
it, and uh, I couldn't find, producers that wanted to work with me as being an artist. So like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pose as a songwriter, and then I'm gonna get these demos, and then I'll use it to shop my deal.
I see Neo just
And
said what's up, by the way.
what's happening, man?
He's a good dude.
Yeah, so I was gonna use that to shop my deal, but oddly enough, those songs just started to get placed and placed and placed, and 16 years old, that was my first placement.
What were you writing about at that age? What do you know? I mean, like Eddie Murphy did fart jokes and and talked about like all he did was shit and fart. So that's what my jokes were about at that age, which I always found funny. What are you writing about at
Nah,
eight
you know
years
what? I
old,
was
10 years
writing all
old,
kinds of
teenager
songs,
years?
man. I really was for all kinds of different artists too. I mean, Danity
Hmm.
Kane, Cassie, uh, Sean Kingston to Pitbull
Yeah,
to yeah, just all kinds of Lil Wayne,
Lil Wayne. Yeah.
all kinds of songs. Yeah.
And why would you have a voice at that young age to do something that's as relevant as something for Lil Wayne at that time, who was like,
Larger than
huge
life.
already? Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, to do something with Pitbull in Miami is like saying I did something for Madonna in the '80s. I mean,
Facts. Um, Man, I just worked every single day. I made a lot of sacrifices in my life. So me at 16, I think for a lot of people, it's them at 30.
mhm.
Like I put so many hours into my craft, and as you put in, just the more you get out of it, man.
Yeah, well, you see, the
I
work ethic is
watched.
real. The work ethic is what it
Yeah,
seems that, like the line that I always see about you, what other people say is that your work ethic is really like nobody else. That you
yeah,
refuse to quit and you're just super focused. And when you have an idea about what's next, that's what's the most important thing. You're not, you never seem to be a follower of anything. You really are a creator of what's next, which is in my business also incredibly valuable. Like we were always looking at, talk about that Wayne Gretzky line. It's like, why are you so great, Wayne Gretzky? It's like, he's like, well, I go where the puck is going, not where it already is. And I'm
yeah,
ahead of that. And for us in the food business, which you've been a part of as well, like, you take what works, but what's the next trend? What's my demographic and what's my new demographic? Or the fact that there's a 7-year-old obsessed with you is the exact kind of thing about why you'll have a future of success.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
It's real.
you hit on all the age groups and decades of work that what do you think gives you that, I don't know, innate ability to predict where the puck is going, so to speak?
You know, I think it's not focusing just on the creative, but focusing on the business as well, right? You have the music and then you have the music business. So I'm a student to the game, you know, and I'm always, like you said, I'm always thinking about what is next, like what's going to happen next, like what do I believe is the future, and I put time into that, you know, and I think the artists that are able to kind of reinvent themselves over and over again is what keeps it going. You know, the people don't want to see the same old person over and over and over again.
Yeah, but
know,
you
it
talk
was
about
all,
an artist reinventing himself like it's possible. By the way, a lot of people don't and can't.
yeah,
You know,
facts.
they're not like child actors that grow up to be adult actors, so they automatically play different roles. This is like you made hits in the 90s, you're sort of stuck in that 90s demo. You
Yeah,
know, your fan base still is there with you. Like I'll show up to anybody that I loved in the 90s that they're performing. It's fun, but very few. I mean, I can't even really name many other than like Jay-Z, you know, who's like kept up. And there's obviously a
yeah.
handful of others, but I mean, the statistic that I was reading is like you have now had 3 consecutive decades of top 100 or top 10 songs.
Top 10 songs. Yeah, I'm one of 10 artists to ever do that. To have three a
Who are
top 10 in every decade.
Yeah, 3 consecutive top tens in the last three decades, starting in '09. So who are the other artists that have accomplished that 1 in 10 stat? Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's myself, Taylor Swift, Lil Wayne. Um, yeah, I forget, but it was. I mean, it was pretty wild. I mean,
Yeah,
Chris Brown.
yeah, I would guess
Um,
Michael Jackson somewhere in there.
no, not in these three
Not in,
decades though.
not in 3 decades. Oh, these 3 decades. Okay, got it. So
Hmm.
like from '09
Yeah,
to now. Yeah, yeah, very few,
yeah, because you got the '90s, you got the 2000s, and now we in the 2020s.
which is nuts.
So, yeah,
And so
man.
meanwhile, every 10 years in music world, which is like dog years practically,
Uh-huh.
what do you do you consciously think about, you know, what I need to do to seem not only popular for the times, but also authentically popular, which is a very big difference. You don't want you know, the fact that you don't come off like a poser where someone is like, this was my style, now I have a new style and another style. That's just like moving with the trends of clothing. But to reinvent the sound, the lyrics,
Hmm.
and then talk about modern day, which is probably the most relevant thing ever, the medium of selling music or creating music and releasing music. And I'm not an expert on this, but watching the way you've done it versus everybody else has been super ahead of the curve. So I understand the TikTok, which we could talk about, but in the prior years, what is your process?
Uh, it's there's always a thought in where I'm going, you know, like with the next project. Um, but even with every song, you know, it's not even just the next body of work, but it's also like with each record, like how am I A, one upping myself and doing something different. B,
Hmm.
um, and I think it comes through experimentation, just being in the studio all the time. You know, I mean, now the studio is in my house now, so like I ain't got no excuse, right? But even before then, I lived in the studio, and
You
it's
got one of
all
my things. See on my notes here? You can't see it probably 'cause it's upside down. It says the experimentation. This is the phase you're in.
yeah,
Have you been doing that each decade, kind of? I don't want to make it like it's every
one hundred
decade is
percent,
something different, but like you
one
just
hundred percent.
trying outside the box thinking.
Yeah, because I mean, like at the end of the day, when you reach to a certain point, it becomes a numbers game, right?
Hmm.
Like the level of songwriting that I'm at in my life. Um, every single song that I write is not a hit, right? But
No.
damn, I mean, if I write 30 songs, one of those are 100% a hit. Now, if everyone put that much time and energy into what their craft is, it's the same thing, right? I mean, you just got to keep going until it hits. Because I
How are
mean,
you at predicting that? Like, do you realize you have a hit that could potentially be the one? Like, I know you release a single because you think that's the one that's going to catch maybe not just you, but a bunch of people. But like,
Mhm.
do you always know like this is the one that's going to be the one, or do you feel like that
Kinda,
comes
yeah.
later?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I've been wrong before.
Yeah, of course, which is fine. Is well because my inability to predict good things is other than movies is really pathetic. Like I think that I'm a complete follower in music. I don't know what's good until people are like, this is the one.
Then you're like, yeah, this is good. This is
Yeah,
good.
like like you sent me like I think like Kula and I was like, yeah, let me listen to it. And I was like, I don't know. And then like I had to play it for a bunch of people and they were like, this shit is gonna be crazy. And then I'm like, yeah, of course. See, I knew that. But no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't predict. I don't know why. I see a good movie. I'm like, all right, this movie's successful. I remember sitting there watching Good Will Hunting and Forrest Gump or Pulp Fiction or any of those movies. I'm like, this
Yeah.
thing's fucking great. This is going to be a huge hit. Music, no clue, generally.
Oh man. Yeah, we all got our little niches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
man. But the music game is really it's ever changing, right? So you have to be able to change with the times, but also be cutting edge enough to cut through. And if the song sounds like every other song on the radio, then you got a problem, right? You're not gonna have
mhm,
you're not gonna have a number one hit based on sounding like somebody else's song. So you have to. So it's crazy, right? So you have to be be cutting edge and different, but
yeah,
also fit within the times. It's like,
yeah.
damn, like
Yeah, it's an
how do you do
oxymoron,
that?
really. You got to be
Yeah,
different, but familiar.
yeah, facts.
Um, how would you describe yourself as an artist, like in comparison to other people in your kind of pool of like your genre, I guess? Like, how would you describe yourself different?
Well, I'm kind of like the first black male to start off as a pop artist. Like I was a pop artist through and through from the very beginning. You
Hmm.
have artists like Michael Jackson that became like a massive pop star, but he started urban, right? And that was the base.
Hmm.
So I just came out very very different than the average black man. So um, it was me trying to just figure out my way throughout this whole thing. It's not like I had a blueprint or like
Hmm.
somebody telling me this is exactly what you have to do to be successful. Like
Yeah.
I was just trying to find my way. Like, damn, like how do we do this? But through just myself and Frank, through all the studies, he great mentor, knows all about the business,
Hmm.
all the ins and outs, learning from him, learning from watching the charts, what's working, what's working here in America and
Yeah.
what's working outside of America, not just putting all my time and energy into home, but also the whole world. It's a humongous world out there.
Humongous. And
I mean, mhm.
you're a major worldwide talent, but specifically, I know like in Europe, when you went there at an early age, it opened your eyes to really like how big the audience can be and to not limit
Absolutely.
yourself. You sort of figured that out early, no?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Very, very early, man. And I mean, it paid off, right? So like, I mean, I've been blessed to sell 100 million in America, but I've also sold 100 million outside of America. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if I had cut myself off to just this area, I think things would be just a lot different. A lot different.
But to become big overseas, the effort that needs to be made and the time that you have to spend to accomplish that is real, right? Like that's really where that travel and all the time you spend over the last 20, 30 years in your career going over there and being present. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I called you about coming to Mexico with me and New Year's and you're a busy guy. You're like, let me look. I'm in this country, that country, this country, this country. All right, I'll fit it in. I'll be there for 2 days or whatever. You're in and out.
Yeah, yeah.
But you gave it your all, which so it really it stayed with me watching you work to realize that you have to put in what you plan to get out always.
For sure.
To think you could mail it in, you never mail it in. Not that I can.
Definitely can.
I mean, I'm sure that we all have our moments, but
You can,
like,
and some people get lucky, right? But I mean, you're just not
yeah,
gonna
but
stay lucky if you're just kind of going with the flow and not putting the time and energy. It's a very, very tough business to be in, and it's so competitive. I mean, you're literally competing with the rest of the world. I mean,
yeah,
everybody wants to be a musician, right? I mean, it's like, could you pick a harder job? So like
no,
you really have to. Success is borrowed. You rent it. Especially in this business, you gotta
mhm.
it's not owned, right? You gotta continue to pay that rent every single year. Like, what have you done for us lately? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Where's that next hit? Where's that next album? You know what I'm saying? It's cool what you did back in the day, but we on to the next thing. Especially
yeah. I mean, your business, my business. It's like, we say it over and over again. You're really only as good as your last failure, right? Like, because if you fail yesterday, that's what you're known for. And by the
100%.
way, failure to me has always been the greatest learning opportunity, and I wouldn't trade a failure that I've had in the past looking back for anything. Now, I could say that because we've learned from those failures and became better from them.
Hmm.
Where do you feel like along this journey, which, by the way, I have no doubt, is the most difficult uphill climb there is, the music business, to be successful in. But with it, you talk about the little wins, but what about the big failures? Like, how did you get past the dark day where you're sitting in your room and you feel like you're a has-been, or you're old-fashioned, or you've missed the boat, or you didn't do what you could have done and now it's too late, or any of those feelings?
Absolutely. I mean, all the time, right? I mean, like you can either you cry about the negativity that's happening in your life, or like, some negative comment. As human beings, right? Like, you can have a world of positive things happening in your life, and then one thing goes bad, and then that's where your focus is at. It's just the same thing with comments, right? By the way, I see all your comments down below, and I love y'all too. It's been amazing watching y'all while we're doing this. But by the way, y'all should share this as well. This is pretty crazy. Yeah. So it's like, look, when you're looking at comments, and you see all of this positive stuff, and then somebody says something really negative, and then just,
Yeah,
it just kind of like punch you in the gut a little bit. Like it's just in us to just focus on that, which
yeah,
I think
gets
is,
to you.
is the worst thing to do, right? You have all of this amazing thing, all these amazing things happen in your life, and you're worried about this.
Hmm.
So throughout the years, I've learned to kind of just brush those things off.
Yeah,
Failures in my life. I mean, when a song doesn't do as well as I thought, these things are like my babies, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, of
like, if
course.
it's not received the way that I expected, it always stings a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But what I do is I just put my head down and keep going. What you can't do is get caught up in, just the one song game, or like worry about one record. You got to just keep
Yeah,
it moving. You know what I'm saying? So I've really been the kind of person that just focuses on work, and then everything else just kind of comes in, as it should. It just kind of falls in place.
totally. Yeah, the negative comments and how easy it is now for total strangers to get right into your face to tell you how they feel about you, and then
Yeah,
sometimes they're right. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. Like, I
yeah.
mean, I used
It
to
stings a
respond to
little bit if
everything.
it's more right.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about negative comments, where they tell you how it really is. Sometimes people are just saying you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, and then someone's like, yeah, but you ever think of this? You do this like that, and you're like, oh shit, I kind of do that, and then you harp on it. But then so I sort of feel like when I read comments about my restaurant, again, this is like kind of the only thing I can always relate to, where
Hmm.
everyone's a critic now. It used to be like you would hope that the New York Times guy would hopefully come into the New York Post and write something nice, and you look for that one guy, and he would actually matter what he said. Now every single person, say they're on Open Table or Yelp or this or that, and everyone's
Yep.
got like a long review. The problem is people that take time generally to write about you are the ones that are pissed about something. You don't really get the
Yeah.
compliments, you just get the negativity, which is super frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
But you take some of that and you probably grow from that too. You know, like I
100%.
welcome criticism that isn't just plain mean or, you know, irrelevant shit, but like when people really say something like, you know, they did this and did that, we look at it and instead of dismissing it, we sort of just like take it to heart a lot of the times and try to fix it and get ahead of it
Yeah.
and turn that frown upside down, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that's why a lot of young artists really struggle, you know, in the growth of their careers, because that's really tough to take as a young man or a young woman. It's really tough to take like the criticism, you know, and critics are ruthless. They'll say anything, man. Like
Oh, horrible.
to sell a story, like they'll
Headlines,
literally say anything.
anything. And it's often not true, by the way. That's the other
Yeah.
crazy thing. You know, I don't want to say fake news, but fake news is all over the place, and it's headline news that the article could wind up having nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Misquoted, taken out of context. It's a bit brutal, but you know, soft skin in your business or thin skin is just not. You can't have it. I mean, if you have it, you can't have a career. I mean, I don't know how anyone could do that. You know, like if you're being an actor and you're getting, not getting the part, and then you quit afterward, you certainly won't have a career. There's no chance. Every good actor says the amount of things that I got no'd about until I got the first yes is what you have to be able to endure.
That's real. With
So
every
you get your
business.
first, so you get your first number one in 2009, and would you say that from that point forward, it gave you a new confidence to make nothing but more number ones as much as you can, or at least top tens? Like where you're like, if I did one, I must have another. Like you don't sit and just think about how great that is, but you now want to have the most.
Well, the kind of song that I came out with first, I never really talk about this, so that's a good question. The kind of song that I came out first, you know, there was a sample in it, and it was Imogen Heap, and she sang the chorus, right? Amazing song that we sampled, Hide and Seek.
Hmm.
Um, so I think the initial reaction for people was like, he'll be here today and gone tomorrow, you know. So I didn't just enjoy myself and was like, yo, number one in the world. Yeah, I'm gonna go party. We lit. Nah, I was kind of like, I'm gonna put my head down and focus on what's next. Like
Hmm.
what's the next song, you know, and what's the next song after that. So yeah, to me, it's always been kind of hard to stop and smell the roses because I was always just focused on what's next.
Were you ever afraid of becoming the one hit wonder? You know, where like
Yeah.
you're just the guy who's touring around singing that one song that everyone loved back in the day, and that's your career? Like, did that
Hmm.
keep you up at night?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I mean, I think throughout the years, man, I understand life so much better now, you
Hmm.
know, and true happiness comes from the chase, you know, because when you arrive, it's kind of like, okay, now what?
Hmm.
And I think that's when people just start deteriorating and start going the other way. It's because we as human beings, we thrive on chasing something, you know. So like once you lose that desire to become a better version of yourself, or
Yeah.
to sell more, or to get a bigger song, or to make a better album, you know, you just stop becoming interesting to people, and I think you stop it becoming interesting to yourself.
Yeah, in other words, you never got complacent and you never believed your own hype or your own bullshit, right? Like
Yeah.
you really never, to me, it's all about perspective. Like perspective maybe doesn't allow your highs to be as high as they could be, but they don't allow the
Hmm.
lows to be as low as they could be, which
Facts.
I've sort of lived my life that way. Um, for as long as I can remember, just like really since September 11th, like when I was around for that and I saw that and I was like, my God, you know, the horrificness of that event like taught me at a young age at 23, like you might be having the best day ever, or you might get a deal that was the greatest thing ever, but just remember that tomorrow might bring a storm upon you. And as happy as you are right now, keep in perspective because it's not going to last forever, and don't live off that high because it's artificial and as you said, it's rented.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah. And like,
Simple concept, man.
yeah, it's great because it applies to everybody and everything, really. It just, it helps you deal with what most people have a hard time with, which is the bad times or the bad news or the tragedy or any of those things. And you realize like life is short. Pick it up and keep moving along.
Mm-hmm.
So
Crazy, man.
recently I know you left Warner Brothers, right? I mean, this is public knowledge, so I'm not, spoiling
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But we talked a bit about that a couple months
Yeah.
ago, and now it's come to fruition. So that now again, I don't really understand the music business, like you do clearly, but from what I'm understanding, that now that you're a free agent, so to speak, you've taken control of your own destiny at the moment, which is unique because most people don't do that. How good does it feel, and how scary was it to do? And like, you know, again, the details of why you did it, but it's clearly you did it for whatever reason that you thought was important for you. But
Yeah, man.
no
So,
regret, I assume.
oh,
Watching what
definitely
happened,
not.
like in May to June, because June was pretty great, and May you bounced. So, um,
Facts. So basically, what happened was Warner Brothers went through four regime changes. Basically, four new staffs, like complete new staffs.
mhm.
And as an artist, it's really tough to meet a brand new team and to have the same synergy and to build a relationship. It's tough, you know. And every single time it happened, it's kind of like starting from the beginning again. You're starting from scratch. They don't know how you tick. They don't know how you
Yeah,
want your things to move. They don't know where you are creatively. It's just like every single time you got to kind of build it again. And four times removed from the people that signed me, the same kind of passion that those people have.
hmm
It's got to be different. You know, four times removed. These new guys, they're trying to build a name for themselves, and they're trying to sign different artists to try to be like, I signed this person. This is they're successful because of me and what I did. Da 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 da. Everybody's trying to make a name for themselves when they
yeah,
forget like who's like actually like bringing in the goods, who's keeping the lights on. You know, like
yeah,
where attention should actually go. You know,
yeah,
this is a maybe, and this is proven. You know, this
hmm
is a maybe, and this is proven.
yeah,
I mean, it shouldn't be debatable where you should spend your time and energy, but it
hmm
was, unfortunately. So it became like a unhealthy situation, I would call it, and it's just basically it ran its course. So like I was like, I need to be free. You know, I need to figure myself out.
yeah.
And since then, I haven't signed another deal. It right now it just kind of feels like I got out of a bad breakup. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I need some time to heal.
I would imagine
But
that reasoning makes sense to anyone you're talking to them about. It's like, I made a deal with someone four leaders ago, and they're long gone.
mhm,
And every year I gotta like have a new conversation of it's like dating the same people over again, starting from scratch,
facts.
which is
Yeah, man.
brutal. Were they difficult, or would they get it? I mean, it's
I
difficult
mean,
because it's business, but
it was. Oh, to get out.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a little difficult.
I hear nightmare stories about, people trying to make moves, and it
No,
seems,
but you know what? Honestly speaking, like it was a little difficult, but like it could have been a lot worse. So I'm
yeah.
I'm thankful um, for being released. You
Yeah, because
know,
I think
but
we all know like the Prince story where he was like, "You just keep it, and I'm the fuck out of here." You didn't have to do all that.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
have to do that, but I would
yeah, right, right,
have.
right.
Because like
So
there was no way that I could stay there. Like that was like it was career suicide. If I
yeah,
stayed there, like I was done. You know, and I think it's really sad that it has to be that way, right? Like as a
yeah,
creative first, it's crazy that I have to think about the business and I have to be creative at the same time. But like unfortunately, everything is not all peaches and roses, man. You
I
kind of
mean,
have
look,
to do what's
you
best for
don't
you.
have to, right? Like, there's a lot of people that don't pay attention to all that stuff, and you see what
Yeah.
happens to them. So actually, you choose to because it's the right thing to do for you, and it's worked for you very well. And you are a like full circle businessman, artist, entrepreneur. versus the
For
guy who
sure.
just like, I'm a performer, I sing and you know, tell me where to be and where to, and I'll do it, but I don't, you know, I don't pay attention. That guy pays attention,
Yeah,
you know, which
definitely.
has definitely helped you, I would say, long run, that you're able to make moves that other people just would not make.
100%, man. One hundred
So,
percent.
so you get out of that. Now you're a free agent again. You're a free man, and you decide to do what? I mean, you've got 4 songs out now, 4 hit
Yeah,
songs, not just songs, 4 hit songs that are like I said, I've got like, you know, when you hear a song you can't get out of your head. I've got 4 of them
yeah,
from you. So what do you what you're taking everything by storm at this point? I mean,
yeah.
when people say Jason Derulo, they think differently than they did even 6 months ago about you.
Facts, 100%. And I think, you know, it has a lot to do with a few things, you know, that freedom had to play a big part in my creative energy. Um, Being at home had a lot to do with that creative energy.
Hmm.
And finding the fact that I can make content, you know, both on Instagram, on TikTok, or wherever it be. The fact that I can make, you know, like these small little videos and be able to entertain people, whether it's, you know, making a funny video or cooking something crazy, or, you know, it's just I have all these ideas every single day, and I can get them out, you know, in a lot of
Quickly,
different ways.
yeah. And it's such a unique platform that you're able to get
Really,
to
man.
millions of people. I mean, you went from like 7 million to 30 million people following you, you know, during quarantine, which is
Yeah,
incredible.
man.
And then you
It's
use
really
that
crazy.
to then, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I gather is you essentially take a song like Savage Love, put it out, 7
Hmm.
seconds with a dance.
Yep.
It then goes viral to, you know, you've got like Jessica Alba, you got like Judy Dench, and like all these people from all over the place making their own version, dancing to it during
Hmm.
quarantine, which then
Yeah.
gives you #1 on iTunes for, at the time it was like 10 weeks when we were talking about it, and then but I assume
Yeah.
it's gone on for longer,
It's
by
it's still
yourself making a video.
still number one. Yeah, it's still number one, man.
I mean,
Crazy.
that's an incredible thing, no? I mean, in your business it's basically unheard of. Is
It's
that fair?
unheard of, man. I'm not like that. I am the biggest unsigned artist on the planet.
Yeah.
Like I have no record deal. It's not like I have an indie deal or like some kind of like I'm like literally like a
Just
free
you.
agent.
Like if I made
Like
a song that went
just
viral, it'd be like
rocking.
me doing it. Yeah, which is great. It sounds
Just
like much more
rocking.
profitable, by the way.
Yeah, definitely that. Definitely that.
Um,
But it's so freeing, man. And like for such a long time, I wanted to put out music, and I wasn't able to put out music. But like,
mhm.
damn, like it feels good to just release songs. And that's why I release these songs so quickly. And I have other ones that are just waiting to come out that are, you know, like equally as massive. I feel in my heart. I mean, of course, like I said, I don't know, but
Yeah, well, but you think, which is good. I mean, at least you're not going into something where you think like maybe not. You know, you think
it's
maybe
like,
yes. It's, I
I
mean,
don't
at least
know.
have some confidence. No, but like, do you think that it's screwing up? I don't want to say ruining music because it's not, but TikTok and these 7-second clips that were basically like, I was talking to a certain executive recently about the new world of music and just paying attention to what you specifically are doing, which clearly everyone wants to do. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of artists are now creating music that's 7 seconds long. They're not creating albums. They're not even creating so much songs. They're creating hooks that are good for this medium based on what
Hmm.
you've been able to accomplish, which is, like I said, remarkable and unique and a trend-setting move. Do you hear this now about it? Like people are always bullshit. Now you got to come up with a fucking 7-second hook and forget the romance of it all? Or
No,
do you
I'm
think
not
that's
hearing
not what
about
you're
that.
doing?
I honestly think that'll be a mistake. If anybody is thinking of making a song for TikTok, is a big mistake because
Hmm.
you're not gonna. It's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Like people like what they like, you know. And TikTok songs become TikTok songs because they're songs that people like. So like if you just have a hit song, it becomes a TikTok song naturally. So to write a hit song, you know, it's just a few variables, right? You just have to write a song that people connect to, whether it's making them want to dance, whether it's making them want to fall in love, whether it's making them feel better about a breakup, whether it's a song that is earworm and gets stuck in their head, and the melody is just so great that you can't get it out of your head. You know, it's just those few things that.
Yeah, but you're not thinking now like, you know, this is a hook that works. This is a dance I could put to it. You're packaging, and it's not bad.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, you know, I look at it, it doesn't seem like you just didn't think about it. You think about it all, which I think is an admirable thing because it's still great, authentic, and popular. But
I just don't think it works. Like you can think about it, but I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I really don't think that it works. You have to lead with the
quality,
the creative.
yeah,
You have to.
of course.
But what TikTok has done, it has changed the music industry in a couple of ways, right? I mean, there's so many new artists in the world, and I think there's going to be a lot of artists that are here today and gone tomorrow. Because what it did is it evened the playing field out. Now, everybody around the world has all of these songs that they can choose from, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from somebody famous and signed. You know,
Look at Lil Nas X.
Exactly. So like when you can put out a song tomorrow, Mark, you could put out a song tomorrow and make a mistake and make a hit by mistake.
I just might. Saying? Watch out. I'll give you
but
a
that
verse.
doesn't mean that you're going to be able to have a lasting career. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know that people give a shit. That's the other thing. Like maybe they're really setting out now, it seems, to just have that one thing that will, you know, catapult them maybe into a second. But it's very hard to do, as we know.
It's like, yeah, I just want one hit. You know what I'm saying? I could go make a club appearance for 5,000. That's all I want.
Yeah, but now they just do it on TikTok, and then they get a lot of followers, and then they start doing posts for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? It's like the new world of, you know, OnlyFans and Instagram posting and influencers and all that shit. It's like, I don't know if it's ruining the world or it's making it really more entertaining or what, but you know, the jury's out. We'll see. But it's crazy time. Now you and Will Smith you collab with him, who, I mean, talk about a guy who's like figured it out at his age. I'm not saying he's an old man, but you know, to then reinsert himself again into Instagram. He's got a whole team of people, right?
Yep.
Before you.
Yep.
Work on his Instagram. His Instagram was incredible, actually, for
sure.
You know, humor and everything else. You know, for the last couple years.
Yeah.
How do you get a guy like that to join forces with so incredibly dedicated? I mean, he's not just like sort of like, yeah, I'll do a thing with you. He's doing it like committed.
like often.
Yeah, and people are still like, did his teeth really get knocked out? Which, by the way, they certainly look like they did. They didn't get knocked out.
Well, yo, he's hilarious, man. But he said something to me. He was like, yeah, I'm doing that Diddy thing where, you know, like, you know, the young hot motherfucker coming out. You know what I'm saying? I make sure that I'm in his videos and I'm dancing. I'm doing my thing, which I think was hilarious. But what it is basically he saw the content and was intrigued by it, man. And I think that's pretty much what happened. And when we got to working together, it just seemed like an amazing synergy.
Where does it go? What was the plan for it? Like, or was it just, let's just do it and have fun with it?
Let's just do it and have fun with it, man. It really it started like that, and the response from it was so amazing. I mean, you can have an amazing synergy with somebody, right? And then you put out the content and it sucks and then nobody likes it, then you kind of move on. But like when you have a great synergy and then the content is super successful, you know, then you just got the best of both worlds, man. And yeah, we're just constantly doing more things. So, you know, hopefully it leads, you know, to the you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's not leading you the wrong way. It's definitely, I mean, of all people to collaborate with, he's a top choice. I don't know even if I can think of someone better, honestly.
Yeah, but you know, it's like even like us creating these small little things. It feels like these small little films. you know. So what I'm hoping is that it leads into something that's special on that side as well, you know.
Well, now with your platform being so enormous, which it
Uh-huh.
is, you really can start, dictating where you want to go with it, which is again another beauty of this device that you can be in the homes or pockets of 30 plus million people whenever you want with a voice. Positive, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword sometimes. Obviously, you can, say the wrong thing or upset one of the 1 million people that are upset about something always. But in general, when it comes to like doing an acting career, movie career, I know you were in Cats, and then we were talking about, other projects that are, movie-ish related and soundtracks of things. I don't know what I can and can't say, but you clearly have that eye to do more. What do you want to do next most? Anything that you're really setting your like, I wish I could just be, maybe it is a movie star, whatever, but is there any?
By the way, guys, continue sharing the live. Continue sharing it. I'm loving seeing your comments. You know, y'all, honestly, y'all have been amazing throughout this whole thing. Hard eyes right back to you. What's up, Ronaldo? What's up? What's up, Milan? What's up? Where you guys from, by the way? Can I get a list of where everybody's from? I'm just curious.
Yeah, like how global are we? Peru, there you go.
Yes. How global are we right now?
We're international superstars, my friend.
For sure, for sure. I'm pretty sure they'll start Brazil. Haiti,
Afian, what
okay.
up? I love that dude. Very funny. By the way, it's for
Yeah.
everyone to know, Jason
Bahamas.
Derulo believed in me when he didn't have to because he was one of my first and largest investors in Catch LA, which was my first endeavor outside of New York City that was a success, thank God. But I remember you just being like, I'm going to put in this much because I believe in you and whatever it is, I'm just doing it, and I really appreciated it. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
your willingness to invest real money into my business was a huge push to believe that I was like onto something right, and I'm happy I didn't lose your money. And
Me
and
too.
yeah,
Me too,
I think
Mark.
your team was like, "This is a restaurant? No, man, that's a lot to put in a restaurant." And he's like, "Nope, I believe I know exactly what he's going to do. I see it, I get it." So I will say you are a bit of a genius. You spot
Thank
you
you, thank
spot
you.
you spot the success from far away. Look, from Haiti.
For sure, and I love Catch, you know, and it stems from two things. Just loving the product, right? Like loving it myself, and then investing in people. You know, you can have a great product, and then the people behind it suck. You
Hmm.
know, so the fact that yourself and your team, you know, top level, top tier, you're such a people person. You're able to do a lot of things. Like you do a lot of things yourself, you know, and I
Yeah.
know that you're just, you know, the hardest worker. You know, you're gonna be the hardest worker in the room, and you really can't beat that.
No, I mean, and also when you talk about the way Warner Brothers, change and change and change, if I did that in my business, I don't think we'd be in business. The people that are there still from the beginning. I mean, people do leave every now and again, but for the most
For
part,
sure.
the investment that we make into the people that work with us, it's all about your people. It's all about your team. It's all about the people that, and
Absolutely. You're
then the
only as
fact
good
that
as your
you
team,
walk
man.
in, yeah, because you walk in there, if I'm not there, I have no fear. I have no worries. Frankly, half the
Yeah.
time I'm not there whichever state you're in. And I
Hmm.
would guarantee that there is almost 100% success of being cared about. Um,
Absolutely.
and by the way, it's not just because it's you. It's also trickles down to the person that's totally anonymous that's been there, a
One hundred
number of times.
percent.
They get that feeling, which can only be accomplished with people that like really love and care about the business itself and the people that they're working with, and then the customers, of course.
We're
Which, like
talking
you
about
said,
Catch, guys. Catch the restaurant. Catch.
yeah, New
Unbelievable.
York, LA, and Las Vegas. And if New York ever opens indoor dining, you get to go to the original Catch. Right now, it's just Catch Steak that's open. It's crazy.
Yep.
But listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're very busy, and I really appreciate you spending an hour with me. I could talk to you forever about so many things because you're, just a brilliant person outside of music, and of course in music, top of your game, which is, an honor to be able to talk to you about it, and one of my favorite
Thank you,
people.
bro.
And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your friendship and always, just really being there when I need you. And, like even when Tori Praver Swimwear was doing her fashion show, you showed up in Miami, hot as hell
Absolutely.
and still wearing like a heavy sweater, which was nuts. But But I look forward to
I probably gained a couple pounds. I was trying to, you just let the water out. Let the water out.
I know it was a good way to just detox while watching a fashion show. But I look forward to the next 4 hits in a row that are coming
Thank
soon,
you,
I'm
brother.
sure. I look forward to the next hairstyle, the next video, the next thing to make me laugh, and everyone to love that you're doing what you're doing. Keep it up. It's so impressive. And frankly, couldn't be happier for you and couldn't be happening to a better, more well-deserving person. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so very much, brother. And to everybody watching, just so you know, Mark has been doing these live sessions where he speaks to his friends, and I think it's really cool because it's such a different perspective, and it's so much easier talking to a friend, and so much more real talking to a friend as opposed to somebody doing an interview. So
Yeah.
just stay tuned to what he's doing. Give him a follow because he's interviewing really really cool people. From Jamie Foxx to Eddie Murphy to
No, not Eddie Murphy, but Chris Rock. But it's still, I
Chris
love
Rock.
Eddie. Eddie Murphy soon, hopefully.
Soon,
But
soon.
yeah, we try to cover everything that is, relevant to today, obviously, but also, to give a perspective of these great successes in different industries, whether it's sports or entertainment or business, and try to really give people a little bit of perspective of how they did it, because not everyone was born into it. Not everyone was born with millions of dollars. They could just create a business. Quite opposite. And the running consistent message from everybody successful, from the billionaire to the superstar athlete to you, is the same thing, which is hard work, a real work ethic and believing in yourself, and taking failures or difficult times and not succeeding into a positive and keeping at it and not giving up. And I think that's really, everyone's journey is very different, completely different. And I love hearing it because I'm a student of success. Like, I want to learn about how people do it, but I think other people get really inspired by it. And like you said, they could be the next you right now because they can come up with something terrific and creative and accomplish it with the use of these iPhones or technology. It's incredible.
100%. Well, always a pleasure, my brother.
Yeah, and I'll see you soon. I'm here. Let's get up.
All right, bro.
All right.
All right, everybody. I love y'all. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, Jason. I'll see you later.
Thank you, my brother.
Bye.
Yep.
So that was Jason Derulo, who's a terrific, terrific guy. If you haven't seen all of his things on his TikTok, follow him, or on his Instagram, which are amazing, with Will Smith and by himself and all of his great songs and unique edited videos, which are incredible. Thank you for tuning in to Catching Up. We've got another one for you next week. I'll announce it soon. Bye.